Hey everyone, welcome to the session today, which is grow your business through podcasting. I'm Leon, I'm from Your Podcast Concierge, and today I'm just going to take you through one of our strategies, which is the 5C strategy, which is to help you grow your business using podcasts. First of all, I'd just like to have a quick look at the power of audio. So why audio and why podcast? So particularly audio, when you think about how busy our lives are these days and all that kind of stuff, you realize that we're quite time poor. Now you're trying to connect with your potential clients and leads, and you want to make sure that you're actually getting in there to create a connection and have an intimate conversation with them, and that's where podcasting comes in. Okay, so it's great because it can fit in busy lifestyle where maybe it's someone on the bus or at the gym. They have the opportunity to stick their earphones in and listen to and learn and keep that connection going and maintain the connection between the host and the listener. So it's a really good medium for that. The next thing I'd like to talk about is content creation. So if you've got a business and you know that you need to be marketing it, now you need to be creating content. Now we know that it takes a lot of time. Okay, so if you're not creating the content, spending the time doing that, you're not going to be visible. If you're not going to be visible, well, you're just not going to be able to get yourself out there and get yourself known. So if you want to be known as expert, in your field, how are you connecting with people? If you're not creating content, nothing's going out. And the fact that these days you actually need to be having more touch points of connection with potential, clients or leads. When you think about you creating content, so if you are creating content and you are getting it out there, is it actually growing your visibility? So are you actually creating the content that's going to your circle of influence, or should I say the right circle of influence? So are you speaking to the right people? So you've got content being created, you've got content going out, and hopefully it's going to the right people. So it's actually making an impact. Now, the question is, are you maximizing the impact of what you want to do, whether it's your life quest to, cure hunger or something along those lines, or just to help people make their lives better through your business, whatever it is, are you having the maximum effect that you could possibly be? So here's the opportunity I see. So if you're an expert in your field, it shouldn't be a problem for you to go on and actually interview other people about that topic, or be a guest and actually talk, about your chosen industry. Now, if you think about the impact that you can have with your podcast, you need to think globally. So yeah, sure, you can actually target in, say, just the country you're in or just the state you're in, but why not go global? All right. The opportunity to go global with podcasting is huge, and there's no barriers to it. The other thing that podcasting does is enables you as the host to establish your authority in your field, because you really want to be the people that turn to as a trusted authority in the niche, so that you're always front of mind. Now, podcasting does that because you're always keeping the connection going and you're always staying front of mind. So we can see there's a lot of opportunity there. Now, the question is to podcast or not to podcast. So that is the question. Let's look at some stats. So the State of the Union. Now, YouTube has around about 38 million YouTube channels, and we know YouTube is used a lot. For people learning things, they do like YouTube. Now, blogs, there's 600 million. That sounds like an awful lot of competition to me. So 600 million blogs is a fair amount. And there's about 548,000 podcasts on Apple. Now, if we go back 12 months, because of COVID, there was more. Okay, so the opportunity is increasing because there was 900 odd thousand or almost a million podcasts that were on Apple. But then because of COVID and lockdowns and all those things that were going on, they actually dropped off over that time because people decided they're going to go back to the office and go back to work and all those kinds of things. So the opportunity to actually have cut through with your podcast has actually increased. Not to mention, there's only actually around about 2 million podcasts worldwide that are actually active. That's in total. So that's including the Apples and the Spotifys and all those things. So there was more, but they're actually inactive. So that means they're not putting out episodes. Some of them that we look at could be up to 2 years old. So no one's done anything for quite a while with them. So how did Your Podcast Concierge come about? So I started originally because I was watching my partner Samantha and way she was having to go through producing her own podcast at the time, and the booking the guests, the editing, the writing the show notes, doing the social media, making graphics, all that kind of stuff, So, and it was super time consuming. And let's be honest, there was plenty of other things she could be doing all the time, in the business. So that's how your podcast concierge was created, because I actually started producing hers because I realized how much time it was taking up. Now, podcasting has given us some great opportunities. Now, this was an event that Sam ran in Santa Monica, and you can see there's all these people in the room. That's me at the back there in the blue shirt. We met all these people through podcasting. So they'd either been guests or a connection from a guest at a time. So the power of podcasting is huge. There's some great guys there. One particular note is the left-hand side with a podcaster shirt on, which in the grey, which is Super Joe Pardo. So big shout out to him. He runs the independent podcast conference every year. And we actually got the chance to go over there and hang out with those guys. And Sam did the keynote for them. So pretty cool stuff. So just another way that you can show the power of podcasting. So through podcasting, we've actually met some really great people. And on the screen at the moment, you can see these are some of the podcasts that we produce, and some great people there. And we really love what they do. And I'm really pleased that we could be involved in their journey. So some of the things that we actually learned from the past 7 years of podcasting, almost going on 8 now. With Sam's original show, we know that we had great downloads, and we actually shared some awesome stories of entrepreneurs and talked about their journeys, and some really cool stories there. Had great downloads, as I said before, but it wasn't necessarily hitting her target market. So it wasn't monetizing the podcast as best we could. So, and originally, she was actually spending a lot of time producing a show. So having me take over that really freed some time up. But like I said before, it probably wasn't monetizing it the best we could. The correct metrics. Now, while downloads are great, they're not the be all and end all. If you're trying to grow a business through podcasting, you need to be connecting with the right niche. Now, you don't need tens of hundreds of thousands of downloads to, grow your business. Now, if you do, brilliant, but you don't necessarily need it. And it's also not one of the metrics that actually says, I'm growing my business through podcasting. So what we realized was it went back to the drawing board and with Sam's podcast, and we looked at the ideal client. We looked at what they want to learn and hear about, and we really made sure that we had hit the correct niche and position for the show. Okay, so we need to really work out what was the outcome that you want to achieve. So when you're looking at your podcast to grow your business, you need to be really thinking about what is the exact outcome that you want to achieve. Now, downloads may not be it. Now, the other thing to notice here was that we actually discovered that the magic happens after the show or before the show a little bit sometimes. So when the podcast episode is finished, the actual discussions that you have with the guest, or if you are guesting with the host, is what leads to bigger and better things and potentially growing your network and that kind of stuff. So we came up with the 5C strategy to grow your business through podcasting. Now, the first one is case studies. So think about social proof. Now, a case study is going to give you fantastic social proof. And the fact is, because you're having an intimate conversation with someone, it's going to translate across a lot better than just a few seconds of someone reading a little bit of a blurb below a picture on a website. It allows you to ask questions that can really establish your expertise and authority. And removes objections from people working, so people will work with you. The second one is potential clients. So the second one is clients. Case studies were existing clients or past clients, and the second one is potential clients. So if you can interview those potential clients on your show, so after the show, you have the opportunity to ask them, do they know anyone else that has these problems so you can find more clients, or is anyone looking for a solution? And quite often it ends up being that the person that you're interviewing, who is the potential client, goes, yep, I know who could use that solution, and it's me. So then you got a hot lead. Now, the third one is colleagues. Now, one of the best things about podcasting is the authority positioning it gives you. Now, I love the saying kings hang with kings, or look, queens hang with queens. But the interviewing of the right people on your show will lift your authority. So by choosing who you put on your show and who you connect with, it really elevates your authority positioning. The next one that we have, number 4, is C-suite. Now, this came around because we found that in the corporate world, that sometimes it was awfully hard to get past the gatekeepers. So yes, you could get to, the assistant or the HR person, whoever it was, but you couldn't get through to the leader or say the CEO or what you want to get through to. So, but by being on a podcast host, it actually gave you that kind of more authority to reach out and get past them so you could actually get through to the people you want to get through to. So we found it gave you great leverage. Now, once you make the connection with these executives or C-suites, just remember that you don't want to be too in their face and too pushy. So you kind of use a bit of a two-step process here. So if you can manage to get them onto your podcast, do the interview, and the bit of gold just after it, having the conversation, see who you can connect with, and then more than likely you want to rebook another discussion for down the track because you've already taken up 45 to an hour of their time. They're busy people. You also don't want to be too pushy too soon. So that's where you need to try and get the next call booked in. So number 5 is collaborations. So it's actually reaching out to the people that you want to partner with or work with or do JVs with or those kind of things. So being a podcast host in this case gives you a really good opportunity to reach out and make those connections that you wouldn't normally get to make. All right. So, and I can't stress that enough, that being a podcast host gives you extra leverage and the ability to reach out and connect with a lot of people. So that was the 5 C's. We've actually got a 6th one as well. So number 6 is actually called change up. Now, once you're a podcast host and you have a podcast and you've got a few episodes under your belt, what you can do is do a podcast swap. So you would interview the other podcast host and they would interview you. Now, what happens here is you're actually getting an opportunity to dive into a much bigger audience. So you actually have the opportunity to get yourself in front of more people by leveraging their network. Now, you probably want to be thinking about is it a complementary field to what you're working in. So when you're looking for podcasts to do swaps with, you really want to be looking for people that are complementary to what you're doing. So it kind of builds your network more without stepping on anyone's toes. Now, I don't normally talk tech in this presentation, but I thought I'd add it just a little bit here. And it's important to note that bad audio quality, it will put people off. So it doesn't matter how great what you're saying is, if they can't hear you properly, they won't listen. If you're getting lots of breakups and it's dropping out, people won't listen to you. And remember to always use a decent microphone, okay? So don't use your onboard laptop or computer microphone. They just don't cut it. They do not work that well. Make sure you get your hands on a good microphone. If you want to know any more about that, hit me up and I can talk you through it. Something else to look at really quickly in tech and is the software. So if you're in Australia, you know what I mean. The internet's not great, and you'll know that with things like Zoom, yeah, you can use a free one, but it's prone to dropouts. It compresses the audio and just wrecks it. And to be honest, the picture doesn't look that great at all. So image wise, it can actually not be that great if you want to repurpose your content later on, like for YouTube or something. Riverside FM, we actually recommend that. Yes, it's a paid platform. It's a downside, but for a minimal fee, you actually get a really good sound because it's like true sound that's recording, and you don't have distorted video either. So you don't have compressed audio or distorted audio. You don't have dropouts, and you actually have a really good video image as well because it's recorded locally and then uploaded. So we know that the power of audio is amazing, and I will say that because I'm a podcast producer and host. But in saying that, we got to realize that the audio enables you to have an intimate conversation with your listeners, potential clients, potential guests even, and really keep that connection going. We know that this day and age, it used to be 3 or 4 touch points, going back 5, 6, 7 years ago. It's now up more like towards 20 plus, maybe even more touch points with potential clients and leads, to actually get them across the line to come and work with you in your business. So you need to be staying front of mind, and that audio enables you to do that without putting too much pressure on anyone, because they can do it on the way to work on the bus, or they can they're doing a workout and they're going for a walk, they've got the podcast on. So the power of audio is absolutely awesome. So I can't speak highly enough of it. The opportunity available to you right now in podcasting, now we know it's huge. Now we know there's 38 million YouTube channels and there's 600, million blogs. Really, I mean, podcasting is not really in its infancy, but it's still a very easy barrier to entry with it. If you've got a laptop and a set of headphones, you can go for it. But the reality is there isn't that many podcasts out there. When you think about Apple only having just under 600,000 podcasts, it's not a lot. Now think about worldwide. So you think about how many people there is in the world, how many people listen to podcasts. There's quite an opportunity there to get yourself in front of the right people. Remembering that's all the podcasts. So that's all the way from true crime to, someone that's, making orthotics for shoes. Like, it's huge. I think there's even ones for, crocheting and stuff like that. So there is a lot of podcasts out there. So the opportunity is still, really, really big in the podcasting space for you to get out there and grow your business with it. The 5C strategy. Now, I know there was a bonus one there, but the 5C strategy, so you've got the case studies, the clients, the colleagues for, raising your authority, C-suite, get past the gatekeepers, collaborations, who do you want to work with, and grow your network. And then the bonus one, number 6, change up. Okay. So doing your podcast swap. So there's a huge opportunity there to grow your business and grow your network. They always say network is your net worth. And in this case, this is the opportunity to really grow your network and grow it in the direction that best is going to work for you. So who do you want to be connected with? Who do you want to be working with? And who do you want to be that's working with you? So who do you want your clients to be? A little bit about recommended tech there. All I can say is do not use the laptop microphone. It's terrible, doesn't work. You have bad audio, people will just be turned off. Doesn't matter what you're saying, they'll turn off. So if you've got an idea for a podcast or you want to start one to grow your business, you can find me at yourpodcastconcierge.com. Click the link to book a call with me. I'm always happy to talk about podcasting. I absolutely love it. So